Uh-oh. Rhodey's getting alerted. He's like, hat? Some toys? Something being thrown? Yeah, what is it, Rhodey? Here. What about this guy? Yeah? You want to get him? Oh. Toys? Oh, yes, all right. Oh, laptop time. Okay. Yes, good boy. Good boy. Welcome to Decentralized TV. I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon.com, which carries Decentralized TV. And we thank you for all your positive feedback about all these episodes. But wait until you see the guest we have today, the topic we have today. And to introduce that, we have our co-host, Todd Pittner, who is all dressed up and looking beyond cool, shall I say. Todd, what's going on?
Well, Mike, you know, I used to be Uncle Vigilante and then rebranded to just be good old me, Todd Pittner, when I founded decentralizeddirectory.com. And then, Mike, you know that I installed a food forest.
Yes.
I took my crappy green dollars and I reinvested them into future produce. And as I went down the rabbit hole, Mike, I ended up running across this guy named Matt Roeske at cultivateelevate.com. And what I learned was I don't know squat, but what I did do is I just binge watched a bunch of videos. And as you can see, now I am Uncle Electroculture because I know how to do this with this.
Now, wait a minute.
And look at my jewelry, man. So you should have seen me go to the store today, Mike.
Well, I get it with the commodities prices of copper. You are obviously flaunting your wealth. I understand. But what is electroculture? Please tell us. And I know our guest is the expert on electroculture, so he'll tell us more. But what's your take on what is that? Is it a wand?
My take. This is a bamboo stick.
Yeah.
And you take your wire cutters and you take copper and you wrap it. Like I've been wrapping this. I mean, I have blisters on my hands. I've done so many of these. And then you do a little curly Q at the top.
Yeah.
And what you do is you stick it next to your plant in the soil.
Yeah.
And then it harnesses from the atmosphere, the ether. It electrifies something or other. That's why we're here today, to learn how in the hell does this all work.
What is it? Okay, yeah, let's bring in Matt because he is the expert on this subject. So welcome, Matt Roeske from, what is it? Cultivateelevate.com. Welcome, Matt. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on. And Electroculture, what he's holding right there is an Electroculture atmospheric antenna. Think of the lightning rods and the weather vanes that used to be on top of all the buildings. That's basically what he created. It's an antenna that gathers the atmospheric energy, or the ether, the chi, the prana, the life force, all the beautiful energy that's all around us. And this dates back to the 1835 with the Royal Agriculture Society in New South Wales, when they were writing essays about electroculture and how it was increasing their yields. They didn't need pesticides, they didn't need fertilizers, they didn't need chemicals, they didn't need any type of toxins. They just used the energy that's all around us. And this is why when you see a lot of those old world buildings, you see those antennas sticking up on top of them as well. And those are gathering all that beautiful ether energy. And what's funny is when you look at a lot of those old world buildings, they have the antenna on top, and then they usually have a piece of copper that runs straight down into the garden that's right next door. Usually it's like all designed with sacred geometry and things like that.
Wait a minute, are you, first of all, this is fascinating. I can't wait, but are you wearing copper around your wrist? Is that what I was seeing? What is that?
Yes. So these are different types of just if you want to talk about it, they're induction coils. That's what they are. Same
Induction
thing
coils,
with what Todd created. It's an induction coil, but each coil represents your meridian pathways of your body. So if you go into your hands, you go to your wrists, you go through your ankles, you go to your knees, your waist, all of these areas are meridian pathways, and copper can help enhance those meridian pathways And this was shown by George Lakhovsky back with the multi-wave oscillator, if you remember that device that he created. And he studied and learned that when copper was placed around the waist, around the elbows, around the wrists, around the neck, it would reduce inflammation, it would get rid of brain fog, it would increase energy. And it was just fascinating. And he noticed too, when you take copper and you wrap it around a plant, that plant will grow 3 times the size compared to the control.
So, okay, this is my next question. So you're saying that the practical application of this is that when you drive these copper coils into the soil next to the plant, that the plant it grows more quickly, it produces more output, more fruit. I mean, what is that the result of this? The plants just grow faster and better?
So you'll get more fruit, you'll yield faster, your plants will start growing quicker, you won't need to use pesticides, you won't need to use fertilizer, you'll have more bees, more pollinators, you'll have more birds, you might see animals you've never seen before that start coming around and they start appearing in your backyard because of the energy that they're picking up on. And you'll start to notice that your plants become heat resistant and frost resistant as well.
You're kidding me.
I had a friend who was actually getting blueberries in Washington in January because of using electroculture. So it really makes us really rethink how we grow food, because we've always been told, you have the harvest season, which is like August and September, which is right now, and you get your one yield, maybe per year. But what I've started to notice with electroculture is people are yielding food every 60 days.
So, and I know Todd wants to jump in here in a second, but I've got a couple more questions. I mean, this is fascinating. I have so much to ask you because I've had experts on, with regenerative farming and also soil microbiology. Is this electroculture, is this also stimulating the soil microbiology that enhances the nutrient uptake of the roots?
So it's increasing the electrical conductivity, which is allowing the plant to move the nutrients up faster and quicker. So if you think of all the stuff that they're bombarding our skies with all on the daily, that stuff is landing down on the soil, going into the roots and blocking up the roots. And you see this a lot in Arizona. You see the cactus, the root system is all blocked up, but the top of the cactus is all perfectly fine. So what electroculture does is it allows that conductivity to start happening and to break up all those blockages so that plant can thrive and be better than what it originally was.
And I assume you or others have done, controlled experiments, A versus B, to really show this?
Oh, yes. At this point, I think we've had close to, 1,000 experiments. I have people all over the world doing electroculture and sending me pictures every single day. I had a lady yesterday who's getting tomatoes in October. Every single day I've been sent messages or videos or just something of people seeing just tremendous results or doubling or tripling their yield. And the funny part of it all is that in the first year of doing electroculture, you'll start to notice increase in your yields. And then as the second and third and fourth and fifth, it will only increase from there.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay, Todd. Yeah. Jump back in, Todd. So you just built a food forest.
Yeah. Just could you guys give me screen sharing capabilities?
I think so. Yeah. Turn on Todd's screen sharing, guys, if you would, please. But Todd, so
Yeah.
what are you doing with all? So that copper, you just went out and bought the copper, and then now you're making your own collection.
I bought 200 feet of copper. This is probably about maybe only 30 feet because I've used all of it. But just since I started doing this and putting my, whatever you call these things, into the soil, starting 2 days ago, I can tell you that my food forest has grown so much that I had to go make a sign, Mike, that says, beware of food forest. It works that fast. I'm not even kidding you, and forgive my nose for growing a little bit, but let me show you this. And Matt, just so you'll have some perspective too, let me find my mouse if I can. There we go. Host disabled participant screen sharing. So I just need to get an approval to screen share.
Okay, you should be good.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So Matt, this is the before. This is the before, and you can see right over here. where's the mouse? So this is the area that I'm going to show you the after, and then we're gonna do a video that you'll be able to see what I did with these thingamajiggers. And let me stop that, and I'm going to tell you that I'm sure you know Jim Gale, foodforestabundance.com. My family, my wife and I hired him and his amazing team to create this. So this will give you an idea of when it becomes fully abundant. It will look like this. And now that I wear copper around my neck when I go shopping, I'm going to become so much smarter, Mike, that it'll be just astonishing what happens to it. But I think right now it would be great, Mike, if you could pull up the video and let's just watch the video.
All right, let's do that. For the editors, go ahead and play the video.
Morning, everyone. I am just coming out to get to know my plants. I intend to do this every morning. So up to Sir Awesome, my first tree I've ever planted. Doesn't he look beautiful? Oh my goodness. Or as my wife used to say, oh my godness. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful this morning? A beautiful blue sky. But yeah, I came out here with the Picture This app, and I am cataloging every plant in here. Why? So that I can then go back into the app and study and understand what they are. I want to really get to know my food forest. And as I am doing it, I have in my pocket right here a speaker. And I am playing, I found on YouTube, classical music for plant growth. So as I'm going around, cataloging the plants, learning about them, talking to them, I'm playing classical music for their growth. Because I just love all of these little guys. Big guy, blue sky, a forest back there, awesome trellis, awesome trench that worked really well last night. Really well. Because we got a lot of rain, which was good. It was great. And then over here, well, it's kind of hard to see because of the sun, but we'll get over here. We'll get a better view. Let me look down because I don't want to step in that, which I think I might have just done. A different little gift my German Shepherd gave me. But yeah, I think it'll take me probably about a week every morning to just come and catalog these, to do it well. You know what I mean? And then it's going to be awesome. Note to self, pick up. But look at this, folks. Look at this. I mean, could it be more beautiful? Could that be more beautiful? No or no. So thank you, Food Forest Abundance and team. Most awesome team ever. Gotta tell you, man, I miss them. Can't wait till they come back for the rest of the story. All right, everyone, have an awesome day. Cheers. So first of all, Matt, I need to ask you, how close should I have put these? I mean, I put it literally within inches of the stalk. On the south side, I heard you say something about that. Is that correct, or does it matter?
You can follow the south side going north to south because the energy primarily moves from north to south. But as
Okay.
long as you put it nearby the plant, you should be good. And you'll start to notice that that plant will start to get boosted.
And what kind of radius does it have?
Yeah, I
Like,
have that question.
So on average, usually about a 3 foot to 6 foot antenna will cover 225 square feet.
what?
The thing is we have to look at the radius that we cannot see. And that's one part that I think is always missing from the equation. Because
Got it.
we're having birds and bees and pollinators all coming from very far away. Like I had a buddy in Australia who started having blue bumblebees appear in his backyard. And he's like, I haven't seen these anywhere near close, even miles or within the vicinity. Then you have to start to think as the aura is much larger than just the antennas in which you're placing and the physical distance in which we can measure. So that's on that one.
So if I put one, because I went on Amazon, and you realize that, hey, I don't have to make these. They make them, and I think they look like maybe they're 18 inches or something. But if I just try to get one of those next to every one of my plants, it's just going to be astonishing, right? I mean, how quickly do you start to take notice that, wow, these things are really taking off?
For most people, I mean, I've seen people have results within a week. I've seen people, it just depends on their land. Because every part of if we're going with the United States or every part of the world is different. There's different energy everywhere. There's different chemicals that maybe have been sprayed. Everybody's land is different, but people get some pretty fast results very quickly. And the first one, like I said, is usually a lot of flowering. 2 to 3 times the flower, and then all of a sudden 2 to 3 times the fruit. And it was just interesting because as we started experimenting with all of this, I did it here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I did it with a moringa plant that was on a 3rd floor balcony, that was on Scottsdale Road, that was exposed to LED lights and was with tap water. So it was in a planter pot. It was in the worst case scenario with it. I put an electroculture antenna inside of there. My moringa seeds and my pods were 22 inches and 18 inches. Now the average moringa pod is usually about 6 inches. I just had a buddy in Florida beat me on that one. His moringa pods are 35 inches.
Wow.
So 6 times the size of
What?
the average moringa pod is. So you really start to sit and think how large things can be and how much we can really have in in a small little radius.
Right.
You don't need these big, gigantic 500-acre farms that are all monoculture and pesticides and things like that. We can use smaller spaces and yield so much, and electroculture taps into that.
So let me jump in here. I mean, I love what you're saying in this topic, because if this, and pardon my skepticism, but if this pans out, this is the greatest revolution in agriculture in the history of our modern world. I mean, this is a game changer for off-grid food production, for self-reliance, and so on. And I understand, I mean, the Earth has a magnetosphere, obviously, so if you coil copper, you're always going to get some amount of current and some induction just off of straight physics. But is there something else that it's harnessing with the coiled copper? Or how do you explain this to let's say a physics person or a botanist?
So think of all your plants are always vortexing. Everything grows in a vortex or a fractal. Even your arms and your legs. When you were being born, same exact thing. They're growing in a fractal. So what you're doing is you're enhancing that fractal or that
okay.
vortexing.
I'm getting you now. You're saying that as it develops, it's like a rotating pattern of the way the leaves and the flowers and so on develop. It's like a...
Yes. Yeah, same exact thing. So now you're enhancing that because that's being diminished. We have all these cell phone towers and we have all the nonsense that they put up in the air. And both of those are diminishing our yields. And what happens is this starts to bring back that natural spiral and starts to bring back that life force. And people's plants then start going crazy, but you're enhancing the nutrient uptake up and down the plant. Because even right now, we have the full moon, which is tomorrow. So the sap is going up the plants and going to be at the top point. And when you're doing electroculture, you're helping that sap flow. Because you ever see these trees that are wounded, the sap cannot flow and the nutrients cannot be delivered. So electroculture can come and help that.
Okay, but I'm still wondering, I mean, what is it harnessing? Is it, I mean, I understand what you just said, the vortex movement and so on, but what exactly is this antenna tapping into? You said the ether earlier, but what does that mean exactly?
So if you look into the atmospheric energy patents of Herman Plossin and all of his inventions, we're just tapping into the atmospheric energy that's all around us. Same with Tesla. You know, when you get into Tesla coils, you're tapping into the frequency that's all around us. You know, same when you get into lightning rods. If you guys want to see that as a picture so you guys can kind of see, and that's a gigantic gold one on the side with those 5 people standing in front of it. That actually used to be on top of a church in Illinois. So you're tapping into the energy that's just flowing all the time. The easiest way to put it is sit outside in the sun and go for a tan, close your eyes, and then as soon as you open your eyes, you see all those little white dots that are floating around. That's what you're tapping into. There's just energy that's flowing all the time, 24/7, 365, and you're tapping into that. And there's actually a car that was created in Phoenix, Arizona, that used to run on the atmospheric energy. And he had 2 little balls on top of his car that he would tap in to the energy that's all around us.
Wow. Well, this is certainly fascinating. Todd, you want to jump in?
Yeah, I think it's just tapping into God's breath, you know? I think he gets a 2 thumbs up for electroculture. Yeah, so is there any downside to this? Like if my plant happens to start growing and touch the coil, is that bad or doesn't matter?
I haven't seen really any downsides with it. You know, I have seen people stacking the electroculture antennas with quartz and adding different types of stones to them to amplify them. And I've also seen people adding basalt, which is paramagnetic clay, to their soil as well to amplify the energy. But I haven't really seen anything of downsides. What I have seen is sometimes a plant will pass away. It'll go into a hibernation state, almost like it's molting, like an insect. And then it'll all of a sudden be kind of like reborn and then be even greener and more vibrant than ever.
Wow. Wow.
And I think that has something to do with the state in which the plants are in. And then the electroculture is enhancing that. And I've seen it a lot with a lot of people's plants where they're like, my plant's not doing too well. All of a sudden, it's greener than ever. And it's like bolting and expanding. So,
wow. So if I ever have an issue with any of my plants and they look like, they're kind of getting sick, I should just be patient.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I've seen this heavily with the pines up in Northern California. I had a friend who was going around wrapping the pines in Northern California with copper. And he actually revitalized a bunch of pines, which were basically sprayed with all the nonsense. And they started coming back to life. And he started noticing all the green coming off the pines again. And it just started happening slowly. So like I said, everything comes down to electricity and conductivity. And we're bringing that back.
Hey, Matt, why you advise that you combine the wood, right? You want wood. You don't want anything like a steel stake or something like that. And then you wrap the copper coil around it. So why wood? What's the
non-conductive? I mean, you don't want to interfere with the wire's conductivity, right? I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So you have 2 combinations. Like Mike was saying, you have the non-conductive properties. You have conductive and non-conductive stacked together, which creates orgone, like Wilhelm Reich and all of his inventions and things like that. And then also you have wood waves. Wood emits 1.6 hertz every second, which is the frequency of phi or PHI. So, that's what's happening. So when you combine the wood with the copper, now you're combining, you have the coil going and then you have the wood waves going at the same time. And you have this beautiful antenna that's emitting frequencies in which our eyes cannot pick up. That's the other thing. We cannot see a lot of this because it's not in the visible light spectrum. So it usually gets washed off as woo-woo or quackery, which are Rockefeller terms. But, that gets, so when we start to pay attention, we start to look at infrared and UV and color spectrum, then we start to see that the copper that you're wearing also reflects the orange hue that we're missing from our plants now because of all the stuff up in the sky.
So, Matt, I'm fascinated. How in the heck did you stumble upon this and get interested in and go down your own rabbit hole?
So I had a lady in 2020 who told me to do I did an Akashic reading with her. and she told me to look into crop circles. And she said, you'll be able to read them. And I said, I don't know anything about crop circles. I saw those movies back in the day, and I know Google debunks it, and I'm going to just go check into it. And she goes, just start looking into them. And so what happened was, as I started to research the crop circles, I started to get into pyramid energy. I started getting into the work of Mary Hardy. I started getting into work of Victor Schauberger, Justin Christo-Flo, George Lakhovsky, all these people who were harnessing this beautiful energy that was all around us. And when I stumbled upon this, I started researching Victor Schauberger, and his work is just absolutely remarkable. And he was showing that if a person places copper into the soil, they will increase their yields. And he talked to a bunch of politicians in Europe and basically proposed that they should be using copper tools for gardening because it'll increase their yields. Because if they're using iron, they'll actually diminish their yields. And think of what everything's made out of, steel and iron. So he proposed to the politicians. They shot it down because they were getting a kickback from the fertilizer company, and all of his work was pretty much outcasted. But he basically, they put out a broadcast to the farmers, and this is why this information was lost. They put out a broadcast to the farmers that if you use copper tools in your soil, you'll yield too much food and not make enough money.
And also they plow the fields with iron plows. And I mean, you know, I own tractors, and you can have rakes, you can have plows, all the implements are made out of iron. That's interesting. But let me just interject here. I mean, I'm very open-minded. I want to learn more about this, and I want to try it. But specifically, I want to try a controlled experiment myself, because I want to see A versus B. I want to see this happening. I mean, has anybody documented plant growth with the harvesters versus without, otherwise same conditions, very kind of like a rigorous experiment approach?
Oh yeah, we've had actually a bunch of people in Arizona. We have all their videos on Instagram. I've shown a bunch of different gardeners and farmers, and all one with and one without. And you see the one with, is 3 times the height. The one without is still really kind of just, struggling to get along.
I want to see that. I definitely want to see that.
Is your Instagram just Cultivate Elevate as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And I can send you some stuff on Telegram too. I have so much. I have videos on videos of information on this one. But on relation back to that one, when you said that, Mike, about the tractors and the iron creates a lot of heat. Yeah. So then the soil gets all clumped up, and it requires 2 times as much water. So then the water sits on top, and then also you have lots of rust, which that rust also brings the slugs, because the slugs are trying to clean up the rust. So if you think about creating all this rust in your soil, you're going to have this soil that's really hard to work with, versus if you take, for example, copper, it just slides right into the earth like that.
Right.
It's just remarkable when you get into the differences.
Well, and also Matt, I would imagine... I'm sorry.
One question.
Go ahead, Todd.
How deep should we put these things? I mean, I've been putting mine about 6 inches. Does it matter?
That's a perfect amount, as long as it stands up. So I have a couple people who build a little taller ones that are 6 feet tall, and they just put it so it's tall enough, just so it stands up and the wind doesn't blow it over.
Okay. Sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm still laughing at why the shades? What do the shades have to do with the copper today?
Because I'm cool. I mean,
I got it.
I am Uncle Electroculture, and I'm so cool. I have to wear shades.
Well, hey, Todd, I'm thinking, since you're doing a brand new food for us right now, why don't you take a couple of your plants and not do the copper, so that you could do the controlled experiment in your own food forest?
I absolutely was thinking the same as Matt was talking. And then I thought, but because I have so many and I was concerned about the radius.
Yeah, true.
Would it really be fair? But I could absolutely do that. I mean, I have some beautiful lettuce plants that are really full.
Yeah.
And they're exactly the same size. And I'll absolutely do that.
Yeah, or maybe you could find a plant that's more in the corner of your food forest, farther away from the other plants, and you could try that, and then you could document it as well. That would be really fascinating. But now here's the other thing that's really interesting is, Matt, I don't know if you know this, but I run a food science lab using mass spec instruments. What we can do this would be fascinating, Todd and Matt, is we can test the nutritive elements using conventional science of plants. So what if you had plants that are growing with this and then without this that are the same exact seeds? It's the same strain of lettuce. And then after it's done, you send us some leaves, and then we do an ICP-MS analysis of the leaves, and we give the readout of selenium, copper, magnesium, everything, and we see if there's a nutrition difference. Wouldn't that be interesting? We could do that.
That's fascinating.
What do you think, Matt?
I think that's a great idea, and I've had a lot of people ask about testing with the nutrients, and we wanted to do some testing even with Kirlian photography just to show the differences.
Yeah.
But I think that that's a great idea. And the thing is because like you said, there's so many things we can't see and we don't know. So, with some testing, we can see the difference. But I can say from what I've been sent and the videos and the pictures, which I will also send you guys as well, is there's just a drastic difference.
Wow.
So when it comes to it, you need nutrients to grow. So if the food is larger, it's going to need more nutrients to get larger.
Right.
So it would be a very interesting test to see the difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, but the other thing to mention on this is, and again, I'm a food scientist. The plants, most of the nutrients in the plants, not the minerals, but the vitamins and carotenoids and so on, those are synthesized by the plants using carbon from the air, right? So if they had extra energy from what you're talking about, electroculture, then they could literally synthesize more nutrition out of thin air. And that's not woo-woo or anything. I mean, that's straight botany. I mean, where does vitamin C come from? It's not the soil. It's hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen. That's it. That's all it's made out of. So, I mean, almost all the nutrients in plants, the sulforaphane, well, that's got sulfur in it, but most of the nutrients in plants are just made out of the carbon dioxide, the water, and that's it. So, I mean, Matt, this is literally potentially just synthesizing, more medicine and nutrition out of thin air, literally.
Pretty much. I mean, that's why when I got into it, I decided I'm going to give it a try. And then I started making a couple videos, and then people started trying it, and things just started going crazy. And then I started getting pictures and videos from people across the world, and it's just grown, ever since then. And
wow.
the cool part was to see people who had like a short growing season, like maybe they were in Canada or maybe they were in Australia and it was very hot, and to just see things go absolutely crazy. I mean, it was just remarkable. And then here in the United States too, because this was when they were orchestrating all those food shortages,
right.
If you guys remember in 2020 and whatever. And when that was all going on, I thought there's got to be a solution, and I think of Victory Gardens and I think of electroculture, and they go hand in hand. So
do you teach people then how to make their own devices or I mean, I'm not familiar with what you offer. Is it how-to information, or what is it exactly?
So with our Electroculture page, we have a whole bunch of frequently asked questions. We have books on there, and then we have some guides as well that I made, which are different videos, which are about 60 seconds long, of how you can just go to the hardware store, pick up a piece of wood, get yourself some copper, and make yourself some coils. Nice and simple. Wow. And like I said, you can add basalt to them. You can add quartz to the top of the antennas if you want, so that you get that piezoelectric effect when things are squeezed. But basically, this page was dedicated towards providing some solutions for people growing food. And I tried it, and it worked really well. And then other people were doing it. And I thought this information needs to be put out there. Wow. And currently, at the moment, I'm writing a book where I'm going to show all the pictures all across the world, because I just want people to have the option of being able to have abundance and food at their backyard.
Yes.
As you know, the transportation system in 2,000 miles and all that stuff, and what happens with the food, I wanted people to have access to healthy food that has high energy in their backyard.
Well, this is why your content is a great fit for this show, because we're all about self-reliance and decentralization away from the central control systems. And also, probably, it sounds like that centralized agriculture, corporate monoculture, is toxic. I mean, it's a system of mass poisoning of the population. And if people want to be healthy and self-reliant, they need to grow more of their own food. So I also love the fact that the pictures that you're showing on your website, it looks beautiful. It looks like yard art. It's actually very nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
And Arizona has a lot of that, and it's just complementing it complements the creativity part, the part that we've lost, the part that we've stopped doing. Like even Todd right now, even just messing around with coil and playing with copper It's that part we've lost. We sometimes expect everything on our phone to give us something, but we have to do the work too. And that's where Electroculture comes in. People can start doing this and then also have their kids do it. I had an 8-year-old who tagged me on YouTube who was showing his squash was 2 times the size and his camera's all shaky while he's doing it and everything. But think of teaching new generations the benefits of harnessing this energy and having better food. It's amazing.
Matt, wow. I'll tell you a quick story. I got the copper, and then my bamboo didn't come in. I ordered it from Amazon, but it came in like at 10 p.m. And the next morning I woke up, go to the restroom. It's 3:30, and I was just like a kid at Christmas morning. I couldn't go to sleep. So I went out there and I did like, 5-foot ones. And it was just a blast, and it was just, there's something therapeutic about doing it, I found. And then when I went out and planted them, not knowing what the heck I'm doing, and what I'm learning about your own food forest is the more rules you put on yourself, I think the worse it's going to be. It's kind of like, just have fun with it. It's going to do what it's going to do. So, I don't know. I'm just so grateful that I stumbled across you. And by the way, everybody, to make it easier for you, go to cultivateelevate.com/electroculture. And then you'll go right to that page.
Okay.
Otherwise, I found it was a little hard to find that page.
No, I've got that up. Yeah. Cultivateelevate.com/electroculture. Right. Well, Todd, I'm super excited about the fact that you're applying this at this stage. This is the best time to start doing this because your food forest just got installed like a week ago or 2 weeks, whatever it was. Yep. So that's the perfect time. And then a question to Matt here on this. Now, as you know, Earth is, of course, strongly affected by, ionization factors and solar flares and sun weather, right? So solar weather affects us here strongly on Earth. And then we have, the aurora borealis and so on, interaction with the magnetosphere. So I'm curious, have you noticed or have you learned about, are there seasons of solar activity that in any way affect this? Or are there different seasons or other factors that can make this work better or not as good? I'm just curious.
That's a great question. And I would say the moons play a big role. We have a lot of supermoons, which enhance the energy or the magnetism of the Earth because you have that pull going on. Just like the waves increase, you have that large pull that's occurring. But as for everything going on, what I believe is that these are to balance out everything. Even with the lightning rods, as we were talking about in the beginning, and just a simple book on this is just on weather vanes, but these were originally used to balance out whatever's going on up above. And I truly believe that the more antennas that get placed onto the Earth, the better things are and the more balanced they are. Because it's interesting, when I was first researching lightning rods, they were talking about how it would get the static off the house so that the house did not get hit by lightning. And it wasn't the other way around where the lightning was hitting the rod. It was actually discharging the static.
Oh, interesting.
So it's quite the opposite of kind of like what we've been told. And so if you think about it, as Todd is placing these all over his backyard, he's removing that unwanted static and balancing out his terrain. And so same thing, if you think about whatever you do on the ground is also going to affect what goes up in the air. Anything related to the sun or any of these cycles that are going on, it would be safer for your plants or for your home if everything is balanced out rather than if everything, like you said, is sporadic due to, solar flares and things like that.
Now, Matt and Todd, I don't know, I'm sure Matt has heard of this. Todd, have you heard of the practice of earthing, where people sleep on, copper mats that are then grounded? And so,
no.
You've never heard of earthing?
No.
Oh, this is a big movement as well. So, the theory is that since we all wear shoes and we're not in contact with the earth as we're supposed to be because we're from the earth, and that then in whatever way the electrical balance is not normal. And so what people find is if they sleep on a grounded copper infused mat, and I know Matt's going to chime in on this, that their life changes, their health changes, their inflammation vanishes, and so on. In fact, Matt, you want to chime in on this? Because I saw you nodding.
So with that, you're increasing that conductivity of your body. And yes, you are connecting to the Earth's charge. There's a DC current coming from the Earth all the time, 24/7, 365. And that copper is going to connect to that pad. And then you're going to lay on that pad. And then that energy is going to flow through your body. And it's interesting, too, because when you get into like illness or dis-ease, it's only that you're out of electrical balance. Once you bring back the electrical balance, the body begins to heal. That's why people drink usually a lot of salt water and have a lot of soup. They're bringing back the conductive water into their body to bring back the conductivity. So same with grounding or earthing or going out into nature and just putting your hands onto the earth or to a tree or putting your feet onto the ground. You're connecting into the Earth's energy that's constantly pulsing. And that's where the even grounding, Nikola Tesla with all of his coils, they were all about being grounded the entire time.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting when you get into it because Marconi, who was all about the radio, was all about the air and, with the toxic frequencies from the radio. But Tesla, on the other hand, was all about the ground. And why don't we just use everything with the ground energy instead of the air?
Interesting. Well, Todd, you're going to have to add an earthing mat to your shopping list, I think.
In the after party, we're going to talk about some things that will go along with that. But question for you, Matt. Have you ever heard of anyone taking copper and getting ground shavings or whatever and just kind of throwing it out there in the garden like it's birdseed?
I have had some people do that, but most of the time they just use either a copper pipe or copper coils. And the only reason I say that is because think of everything as like a fractal design. And that fractal design helps to alter the ether and the way that it's flowing. Versus if you just put copper, there's really no coils going on to kind of change the flow of the energy. Because the simplest way is think of it as a tornado or a hurricane or the wind. All you're doing is just kind of changing that current and then capturing that current. Versus the shavings really wouldn't capture the shavings.
So tell me why you want to, as you're looking down when it's stuck in the ground, why do you want it to be going clockwise in the northern hemisphere?
So I like to look at things as we're kind of like on one big magnetic ball or magnetic plasma, holographic, whatever you want to call it. But it's a giant magnet. It's almost like a donut. And in the northern hemisphere, you have a clockwise spiral happening because of the water. And the southern hemisphere, you have a counterclockwise spiraling happening at the exact same time. So my whole thing, and when I was studying a lot of the work that I was looking with Justin Christo Flow, the whole thing of going clockwise is because you're matching the way the water drains in your pipes, because that's the pull that's going on that part of the earth. Now, on another part, you usually have the opposite going back.
Right.
So that's kind of why I stuck to that, because I think of everything as magnetic and things are being pulled. And that's kind of my whole take on that.
And Mike, what I was just going to share about the grounding or whatever. What I have been doing is there is this app called Picture This. And I have so many different species of plants out there. I've been cataloging them. So I get up and right when the sun just starts to come out, I take off my shoes and I go back there. And I've just been slowly cataloging them in this app so I know what they are and I can go back and study them. But I have found that, again, very therapeutic, just being with no shoes on.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I've covered many studies about gardening and the mental health benefits of gardening. And many of the scientists believe it has to do with the physical contact with the earth, with the ground. And again, those are using, iron tools. But I just want to mention for anybody watching who thinks that this discussion might be outlandish, I want to remind you of something, which is that if you take copper and you coil it and you attach it to a rotating axial, handle of any kind, and you just rotate it inside a magnetic field, you create current. You create electricity. You're creating alternating current in doing that. I mean, that's how all generators work, folks.
Right.
So if anybody says, copper doesn't do, take apart a generator. What do you think? Why is there copper in there? Because it harnesses energy inside a magnetic field and turns it into current, folks. I mean, that's how all generators work, right, Matt? I mean,
Well, if you go back into that, because I got one just for that, because I was trying to find my book so I guys can show you guys. But those are dynamos, and those
exactly.
are what to be all around in the 1800s in every old world building, and those
Yeah.
are exactly what you're talking about. They're creating the energy. So you're just doing the exact same thing, and now we're just using it to enhance our plant life and enhance our terrain.
There you go. And what's great is it has no moving parts. So I imagine, I mean, the copper will last a long time. I would imagine eventually some of the copper that's under the dirt might begin to oxidize if it's moist over time, but you can just, cut it off and shove it a little deeper. And I mean, it's simple.
With the oxidation that occurs, it doesn't affect the antenna at all. And
Yeah.
just think of like the Statue of Liberty. It's one giant big piece of copper.
Yeah.
And think of how it always gets struck by lightning. So there's so much energy flowing on that star fort, which is what it is, but flowing through there. So same thing, that patina or that oxidation, it's just salt. It's just copper salts.
I do have to say that ever since I've been starting to wear my copper jewelry full time, my wife doesn't necessarily like to snuggle with me anymore. You have any marriage counseling on that, Matt? Roeske?
You might have to put some wool or some linen around those so that it's not
Okay.
so painful. That would be one option.
Well,
Or maybe it's the fact that I won't let go of the wire cutters either. So I don't know. It's a puzzle.
I want to mention something from the science point of view here that I think people will find fascinating. Can you show my screen? I'm bringing up the table of elements. A lot of people don't know this, but copper is in the same table of elements column, which means it shares the outer orbital shell characteristics at the atomic level with silver and gold, right? So copper, silver, and gold are all the same family. Now, what's interesting is that all of these are used in electronics. All of them have been systems of money and value that have been recognized by civilizations throughout human history. Whereas many of these other metals, like zinc over here, not considered as valuable. Well, it's got a different configuration. It doesn't work the same. Or nickel, not as good, not as useful. But copper, silver, and gold, they all conduct electricity. They're all systems of money, and they all have unique properties that gives them also visual or physical beauty and recognition of value by human populations. And they've been used to make jewelry throughout indigenous populations, Native American populations, for example, throughout history. Isn't that fascinating, Matt, that copper, silver, and gold all have similar properties, just different levels?
Yeah, they're all the most conductive materials that you can possibly use. And if you think about it, if you're giving somebody money, you're exchanging energy from your hand to somebody else's hand, just like magnetic healing, same exact thing. But when you go to give that coin, that copper coin, to somebody else, when they go to grab it, now you've created a circuit and you're exchanging energy because it's conductive material.
Interesting. Never thought about payment that way.
It's interesting too, is because even the dollar bill is made out of linen, which doesn't allow it to gather any static. So it doesn't crumple. So it's interesting when you start to look at all these different properties of energy from our currency or money system and how these things play a role in there.
Hey, Matt, has electroculture been suppressed or repressed by the people in charge? You know what I'm saying? I call them the Druid Babylonian bastards.
So with that, we've had many resets. You have the 1902 reset, you have 1919 World War I, you have World War II resets. A lot of these resets, a lot of this information was lost over time. And then as the information was lost, people started being dependent on Monsanto and all the chemicals that they sell. Mm-hmm. And then as people kind of got used to maybe using the chemicals and doing that, this kind of was forgotten. And it's interesting because I tapped into an archive from 1835 with the Royal Agriculture Society. And this was in New South Wales in Australia. And they were writing essays on this and how beneficial it was, But if you couldn't find the newspaper at that time, then you would never know about this. And then if you didn't hear it on the radio with that whole thing, then you didn't hear about it as well. So a lot of information, I feel, is lost because of just control of our media system.
Interesting. So that means there's information lost in a reset. So, Mike, that explains Joe Biden. But I digress.
Well,
Excuse me.
the thing is, I think there's another big reset that's being engineered to try to obliterate and destroy human knowledge right now. For example, Google has been turned into an anti-knowledge search engine, right? So they've hidden from us all the important knowledge of natural medicine, natural healing, mind-body medicine, and probably electroculture, as we're learning today, and many other topics that we cover here. In fact, you could say that this show, Decentralized TV, is also about hidden knowledge, really. And that's why this is great to have Matt on here. Matt, I mean, we have a few minutes left, but what's the easiest way for people to get started? I mean, it sounds simple to start. What would you suggest that people do?
So what they can do is they could go to their local hardware store or a scrapyard, because that's another option as well to support the local scrapyard. But you can find yourself some copper and get it in a coil. And then you can find some wood that's maybe in your backyard, because it already resonates at the same frequency as you. All your plants pick up on you. This was all shown with Marcel Vogel's work when he was creating all of his crystals for all of the technology that we use. But you find a piece of wood, wrap it with copper, create coils, take the copper, place it up towards the sky, take the other piece of copper, ground it into the ground, and simply put, that's it. And you just stick those into your garden and you just let nature do the rest.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. It's so therapeutic, man. and then to think, I mean, I'm going to become the biggest electroculture evangelist once I see my backyard just take off and prosper, because I really believe it. That's the other thing. When I'm out there and I'm putting these in, I'm talking to the plants, because I believe that too. I think that counts. So it's like, I'll take good care of them and they will take good care of me and my family and my neighbors.
Yeah, I completely agree. And plants are not just living systems, but plants have their own type of consciousness. I mean, all living systems are conscious in one way or another. They don't experience reality in the same way that you and I do. And they have different senses, right? We have ears and eyes and whatever. They have sensors. Plants communicate. I mean, this is mainstream science, folks. I mean, there are networks of plants that communicate with each other. They even warn each other about predators, or they strategically plan to take over an area and they produce chemicals to kill off the neighboring plants so they can colonize. I mean, plants are way more sophisticated than people have knowledge of typically. Matt, would you agree with that?
I would say yes, because there was actually documentation, I believe it was by Baxter, where he hooked up EKGs to plants, and the owners of the plants or the gardeners who were taking care of those plants, if they got injured, the EKG would spike and it would go up and down. So there was a person who was over 2,000 miles away from their plants. They actually fell down a mountain and they noticed on the EKG that the EKG was going crazy because the plants were feeling the harm that the person was just experiencing.
Wow.
You are very connected to your land, to your trees, to everything that's on this beautiful planet.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this life force, which has been described, as you said, in Chinese medicine as qi, or in Hinduism as prana, or, I mean, every culture has a word for it, whatever it is, but it's a life force energy. It does permeate plants, animals, humans, and frankly, the whole ecosystem that keeps us alive. So, Matt, we're just about out of time, but I want to say this has truly been fascinating, and Todd and I are both going to experiment with this.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you give it a try, and I hope, like I said, your garden goes wild. And there's a great book if people want to look into, just to end it, so that they can kind of ask some questions about our whole weather vane situation. It's Weather Vanes, Kenneth Lynch. And just look up this book and then sit and think, are the things that we used to see with the lightning rods and the weather vanes what we really think they were used for? Mm-hmm. Because this one kind of opened some eyes to go, maybe I should replicate these designs for my electroculture antennas.
That is really fascinating. Yeah, and I'll just add to this. And by the way, thank you, Matt, for your time. It's really been great to have you on, and you're opening a lot of eyes. But I mentioned in a podcast the other day, you may have heard this, Todd, I was just challenging people, can anybody explain magnetism, really, how it works?
Right, I heard that.
Because nobody can. I've asked people. In fact, I've asked people who are engineers to say, well, So explain how a wing works on an airplane, right? And then they have all this explanation. Oh, it's curved on the top and the air pressure is lower on the top. And so it pushes the airplane up and that's what keeps it in the air. And then I say, well, how is it that airplanes can fly upside down? Because they do all the time at air shows. And they're like, oh, no. And it's like, oh, wow. So you really have no freaking clue how wings work. And that's my point. Nobody knows how magnetism works. Nobody knows how electricity, I mean, they come up with words, but really it's way beyond anything that we have nailed down. There's a lot of mystery yet to be discovered is my point. So
I like that that way, because that's the truth. You know, when you ask the professionals the questions that start to get the words for them to stumble, then all of a sudden you can't get the answer.
Right.
Same thing like you said with the electricity. Nobody knows how it works. You know, nobody knows if even with grounding. It was funny, I was on a website and they were saying that with electricians, they're not taught grounding. And then you sit there and think, but electricity is flowing. Shouldn't they be taught grounding? It doesn't make any sense. But yes, when we start to ask questions, a lot of things don't make sense. And we have to also drop our ego to think that we know everything.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
You know, we just don't.
No, all of human society has barely tapped into a tiny fraction of what the cosmos has to offer us. And that's why I appreciate you bringing us this topic and, you know, it being intriguing and there's mystery and there's fascination and maybe a revolution as well to discover. So thank you so much, Matt. It's been great speaking with you.
Matt, I would love it if you'd come back and join us like maybe in 6 months and I can give kind of like a report on my food forest and in some of the paired comparisons to where I will do those experiments, Mike. I think that would be fascinating.
Totally.
I'll document that. And then Mike, just favor if you and your team could get me Matt's contact information afterwards. I'd like to be in direct contact with you, Matt, because I do have some additional questions.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We'll get that to you, Todd. I just want to remind our audience one more time, cultivateelevate.com is Matt's website. And then you can also put a /electroculture, which is spelled just like it sounds. And you'll get his Electroculture for beginners. So thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate you. It's been a great conversation.
Thank you for having me on.
You rock, Matt. Thank you.
You too. Take care.
Cheers.
Join the official discussion channel for this show on Telegram at t.me/decentralizedtv, where you can ask questions or offer suggestions of who we should interview next. Also be sure to subscribe to the email newsletter on decentralized.tv, where you'll be alerted about 1 day in advance of each new upcoming episode, before it gets published. On decentralized.tv, you'll also find links to our video channels and social media channels across all platforms, including Brighteon, Rumble, BitChute, Twitter, Truth Social, and more. Check it all out at decentralized.tv. All right, well, Todd, I'm still, you got a lot of copper on. That's.
I need all the help I can get, Mike. I mean, I love doing a show with an actual scientist. I need to up my game.
Well, I tell you, look, for all the audience that is wondering, like, you know, what you and I think about this, I think we're on the same page, which is, okay, let's just try it and see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess we can talk all day about what's the theory, how it works, or some people might say, oh, it's not going to work theoretically. Well, why not try it? It sounds like it costs almost nothing to try.
It costs nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I got 200 feet of this for, you know, maybe $40.
Oh, really?
You know, and then some, you know, bamboo sticks, and it was nothing. It was really more just my labor, you know.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of blisters and cramps and stuff, but no, it was fun. It was fun, Mike.
I mean, and if it doubles production of one tomato plant,
yeah,
it'll probably pay for itself because food is so expensive.
That's true. That's true. But you know me, Mike, I tend to dive in the shallow end head first. You know, when we interview someone on solar, I get solar. When we interview someone about a food forest, I get a food forest.
You do.
You know?
You are diving in.
Yeah, so this is something, Mike, that I have really, really I studied over this last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I binge watched so many videos on YouTube and stuff, and it's empirical. I mean, the evidence is empirical. Now, there are some who tried doing it and they're like, yeah, well, I can't really tell. And that one, but I didn't find a lot of those. And then there are so many other key points of differentiation, like, all right, do you have crappy soil? Who knows? But I'm really thinking that this is going to work.
But you saw a lot of videos of people that had success stories on doing this?
Oh yeah, and they did do paired comparisons.
I see.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait to go to his Instagram, Cultivate Elevate, because I bet you that's where he gets a lot of people who have submitted videos to him.
Yeah.
That he is repopulated or whatever. So
well,
I'll be binging there tonight.
It's like I said in the interview, if this can be confirmed, and maybe it is already confirmed by other people. It sounds like it is,
right.
But in my mind, this is new to me. I want to see a controlled experiment before I'm gonna believe it all. But if it's all confirmed, I mean, truly, it's revolutionary, especially for self-reliance and also affordable food, and also think about developing world, or developing nations being able to produce more of their own food and their own nutrition and their own medicine and so on. It's a game changer for all that.
And if it is true what he says, and this is the part that I'm a little bit not suspicious, but that you don't need any kind of fertilizer, or you don't need, certainly no pesticides. No pesticides are ever going to touch my food forest, I'll tell you that. But and that they need less water and things like that. I mean, if all of that becomes true, that really does change the world's landscape. We just have to stop planting grass and grow food instead.
Well, I have interviewed other, in fact, it was a PhD, a woman who's an expert in soil microbiology, who, I interviewed her for my regular show. And she said that with the correct microbial mix in the soil, the microbes free up the nutrients that fertilizer is trying to provide. And thus, she said also, you don't need to add any fertilizer whatsoever.
Wow.
It's not necessary. It's about nurturing the microbes, the populations in the soil, and then the plants have everything they need. So I've heard that, and she's a mainstream, well, maybe not mainstream, but she's associated with a university, and she has a regular, a mainstream PhD, you could say. She's a botanist.
Has great bona fides.
Right. So this concept of not needing to add fertilizer is not a crazy concept. There are other explanations for it, and maybe it's like I just said, and maybe the electroculture makes the nutrients more available.
It could be. It could be. But what I sent you a video yesterday, Mike, to where I looked out my back balcony, and I just observed there was a hawk on my back fence. There were 3 raccoons, 2 deer.
I saw that.
Like they literally were just holding court around the food forest. And I just was fascinated by that. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I had already put out these antennas. So I'm curious now if that had anything to do with it. But
you're going to have like a Noah's Ark in your backyard pretty soon. All these animals like antelopes and things. Wait till your HOA finds out about your Noah's Ark project.
Well, Mike, I told you I was going to surprise you that we're going to have a new segment on the show.
Yeah.
And because everyone out there, look at me in the sunglasses. I co-host with a very special dude who knows just about everything. So we're going to have a Ask Mike Anything moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you say jump, I say how high, right? Now, my wife, she hurt her finger, right?
Yeah.
She smashed her finger.
Smashed it.
Smashed it.
Oh, man.
And it was my fault that she smashed it.
Really?
Yes. It
That's
was my
even
fault.
worse.
I wanted her to help me get a big cooler that had just, we were going out on a boating trip that I sponsored, and I had this huge cooler that was very, very heavy because it had all of the ice and the drinks. And I'm like, honey, come on, here, just grab it, grab it. And I pulled it, and it smashed her finger in between the bumper and the cooler.
Ooh,
And
not
we
good.
really thought it was broken. But so you healed your finger, and part of your healing regimen is you said that you used these guys.
Tuning forks,
right?
yes.
Tuning forks. So I went and did what? I went and bought me some tuning forks.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Excuse me, guys. I just have to get this out. I have no freaking idea.
Oh, what to
how
do
to
with
use
them? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So first of all, you don't need the mallet. You can drop the mallet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. So you take that tuning fork and hold on.
Yep.
Yeah, with the stem. Okay. Now smack it against the palm of your other hand to get it vibrating. Smack it with like just one edge. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Right. And now you can hear it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So right after you smack it and it's vibrating, then you're going to take the stem of it and you're going to put it on the wound, just like that.
Like that?
Now, can you feel the vibration in your finger?
Yeah.
That's it. So what's happening is all the frequencies, the kinetic vibration, the sound frequencies, which are frankly multiple octaves of frequencies, including some ultrasonic because it's metal, those frequencies are being pushed through your tissues, and it's activating senescent cells that would otherwise die. That's what's happening. And so I did that to the joint on this finger, for a couple of months and grew back.
So how long would your session be? Like when you sit down?
Just a couple minutes.
Oh, wow.
I just do it each day, a couple of minutes. And
would you do different sizes, or did you have kind of a go-to size?
I just use one. Size, but there are different frequencies of the tuning forks based on their length and, the vibration. But what you're going to find is that the healing will be faster, and the bruises, is her finger bruised?
It was, yes.
Okay. The bruise will clear more quickly, and the pain will be greatly reduced because you're going to, again, you're awakening the dead cells, and you're bringing more circulation, and you're pumping kinetic energy through the tissues, which gets cell membranes working better. It gets everything moving better. So yeah,
that's so cool, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank
it's high tech but low tech. It's like ultrasonic frequency treatment.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have any electronics. It's nature.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I wonder, because I got stung by a bunch of ants and it just drives me crazy on my ankles. I'm wondering if I can do that and put it right on the ant bite, and maybe it'll heal faster.
Were those fire ants or something else?
They were these little piddly ass black, really tiny ones. I know Jim Gale tells me ants are good, but they were in one of the plants that was planted.
Oh.
And so, I walk around with bare feet.
I see.
and I stepped in.
Oh man. Well, we have fire ants in Texas that are insanely painful.
You can saddle those. You can saddle those, right?
You can ride them. And like if you pick up a half rotted piece of wood on the ground, often it'll just be crawling with these fire ants, which I understand are originally from Brazil. So they're like Brazilian rainforest ants.
Oh, thank you, Brazil.
Yeah, and these ants are crazy. They will just go after you. But there are solutions against them.
Now, I know you are not a TV guy, but
No.
I presume at one point in time you watched Naked and Afraid at some point, because those people who do Naked and Afraid down in the Amazon or the forest in
I've never
Brazil.
even heard of that show.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding me!
No, I mean, is
Literally,
it like Survivor or something?
Yeah, they dump off a couple, to where they take their clothes off, so they blur everything, right?
Really?
But they literally have to stay out in the Amazon with they don't give them anything for 21 days.
Oh,
and
okay.
And oh my gosh, it's like a train wreck because of all of the mosquitoes and everything. Their bodies are just horrible. I mean, you couldn't pay me a gazillion dollars to go do that to myself, Mike.
Oh, okay, naked and afraid. I thought that was just a fraternity hazing technique, actually, but I guess it's a TV show. All right.
Oh, goodness. This is why you stay for the after party, folks.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, we got to get DTV man over here. Can somebody in our studio, can somebody bring DTV man out here to the desk, please, and set him on the corner? Once I forgot to put him on here today. He did survive the roadie attack from last week.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did. His face is fully intact. Okay, just toss me the hat. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. Uh-oh. Roadie's getting alerted. He's like, hat? Some toys? Something being thrown? Yeah, what is it, Roadie? Here. What about this guy? Yeah? You want to get him? Oh. Toys? Oh, yes, all right. Oh, laptop time. Okay. Yes, good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Okay, sorry. Oh, he's all over the laptop. Hold on. All right, sit. Don't get on the cables. Okay. So, sit. Down. Yeah, good boy. All right, let me just hold the microphone here.
That's awesome.
So, what else did you want to cover today, Tom?
Well, decentralized appendages. I don't know. It looks like DTV man is having some hand issues. But
yeah, DTV man needs a helping hand or two. It turns out. Hey, Roadie, come on, man. All right, come on. Down. There we go. Down. Good boy. Okay. Good boy. All right, I'm available. I can answer more questions now. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, one thing I would like to plug, if you don't mind, is decentralizeddirectory.com.
Absolutely.
That's coming along. By the time this airs, we will have our partner section that is going to be built out. We're getting very, very close. Now, these are key partners supporting decentralization. So if people are in there, they've been vetted, and they are making valuable offers. By the way, I just got, Mike, look at this.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Oh, you got your above phone.
I got my above phone. So
awesome.
We need to talk about that amazing affiliate sponsor, Above Phone. And I got all of the cool stuff that goes with it that I don't know what all of them do yet. We ran out of time yesterday, but we're going to circle back up over the weekend. But yeah, it's been, it's very, very special partners like Above Phone that are in there, and Miles Franklin, et cetera. You know the drill. But I wanted to let people know, if you go in there and you just sign up for the newsletter, I don't know if you had an opportunity to download it and see it, Mike, but this is just a printout of it. But you'll receive a decentralized directory crypto glossary that we put a ton of work into it. There are probably well over 100 different terms in there that are real simple real simple definitions. So it's not overwhelming, but I really encourage people to go in, sign up for that free monthly newsletter, and we'll email you a link to be able to download that, Mike. I think Rhodey needs some copper bling. What do you guys think? Man, I'm feeling so much smarter with this copper around my neck.
There's like dog slobber all over the desk now. Like serious amounts of dog slobber.
So thank you for the tuning fork lesson.
Yeah. And by the way, I just want to, I have not given the attack command yet to my dog because I don't want to do that on, live, like on the show.
Yep.
If I give him the attack command, this mannequin will have no face. It'd be over. So far, these are just play commands. Yeah. That's why he's so happy. But if I give the attack, man, this guy's done for. Then we have to buy another mannequin.
Wow.
Yeah, but okay. Anyway, tuning forks done. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
That was my Ask Mike Anything question for the week.
Okay. So, very good.
Thank you for doing that. 8 p.m. after parties matter.
Awesome.
That's why you come here.
But getting back to Electroculture and Matt, I just think I'm glad you're going to keep in touch with them. We will too. And
Yes.
let's do a follow-up and see how your food forest does. And
Yeah.
also, I want to try some of this. I don't know if I'll have enough, time to do it systematically as the way I would like to do it. But
Yeah.
if you do it, we can
I'll
all
do
benefit
it.
from that.
I'll do it. As a matter of fact, tomorrow morning, I'm going to start the experiment. I'm going to bring everyone with me to make some decisions back there.
Okay.
So we'll do it together. And, I'll just capture it on video and then can post it in our decentralized chat on Telegram so people can see. And then I'll just keep documenting it. And over the period of the next, let's say 6 months, we'll be doing the eye test, see which one looks like it's producing more or less. And I've got some plants in mind back there that I think I can do a paired comparison.
Okay, that sounds great. All right, so let's see. We should also mention Satellite Phone Store as a
Yes.
sponsor of the show, sat123.com, for having backup satellite communications. That's another form of decentralization, so you don't depend on the cell towers and the power grid, by the way. But, it is a high-tech thing. The technology has to work. So we should also have low-tech solutions for communications as well, the landlines, wherever. I mean, do landlines even exist anymore? It seems like not so much.
I thought you said land mines.
No, landlines.
I think they work.
Landmines do work. And then also want to mention, you brought up Above Phone. You got your Above Phone. And
Yes.
the affiliate link for that is abovephone.com/DTV. If any of you want to take advantage of the de-Googled phones that company offers, that does help support the show with a little bit of an affiliate fee that we get at no additional cost to you. So,
And I'm so excited about digging into this weekend and
Yeah.
going in and searching through the apps and actually figuring it out. But I can't say enough about the support that Ramiro gave me personally.
Oh, yeah,
But
he's been
his
great.
His whole team. If you get one of these, they invest a lot of time with you to get you up to speed. High quality, high class operation.
oh
over
yeah,
there.
no, Above Phone and Ramiro has been truly amazing. We got to have him back on, and he's coming out with the laptop. Did you get that
Yeah.
comm from him?
Yeah. Yes.
He's got a new
It's,
Linux
really soon.
laptop that is going to be available shortly. So we'll bring people information
I
about
think
that.
I think it's almost road ready.
Yeah.
So,
think
and
so.
I'm definitely going to pick one of those up as well.
Okay, and then finally, as our model here, our mannequin who is still surviving, is showing we have these the shirts from a company called redpillprints.com. We don't earn anything off of those. Can you see them? Yeah. Okay, so he's wearing the DTV shirt, and we've got the cap on, well, backwards at the moment, but there's hoodies and there's coffee mugs and other things, and you can get these at redpillprints.com/DTV. And that, we don't earn anything off that, but we do support them, and they do accept crypto. So and they have a lot of other cool shirts and designs as
Yeah,
well.
they do. They do. Let's support them. It's a real nice family.
Yeah,
Really nice.
absolutely. Well, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be going out and buying copper
Yeah.
this weekend.
They should.
Yeah.
They should. And you know what? You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that they had the bamboo sticks at the Lowe's. And then when I went back for some shears, I'm like staring me right in the face. I'm like, why in the heck did I wait all that time for Amazon? I could have just picked them up and started earlier.
True.
But yeah, you just go and you get the thinnest copper wire that they have on coils, and they'll roll them off and give them to you. And it's just super easy, It's
Very
just
cool.
You grab one end and you just start twisting, and it works.
That is cool.
Get a wire cutters.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you, Todd, for joining me today and also for recommending this guest. You're on an amazing journey yourself, by the way. I don't know if people realize, but your life has changed so dramatically since you began this show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's almost, you're not even the same person you used to be. Now you're doing food for us.
Literally not.
Copper wiring in your garden and all. I mean, and everybody that we interview, like, you're getting into it super deep.
I
which is
feel
great.
that I need to be the tip of the spear. If we're going to evangelize decentralization, I would like, at least through my own service at decentralizeddirectory.com. I don't want to suggest anything to anybody that I haven't done.
Yeah,
And
fair
so
enough.
that's why it's really important to just roll up my sleeves and do it. And you know what? If it doesn't work, then what did I lose? I learned something. But,
Absolutely, yeah. Hands on. This is the solution. Well, with that said, Todd, we're going to wrap up today's show, and I just want to encourage people to visit our website decentralize.tv, and also visit Todd's website decentralizeddirectory.com. And then remember that if you've missed any other episodes, because we've got about 20 that have been posted now, maybe more, go and watch them all because they're all timeless. I mean, every show is going to bring you some fascinating piece of knowledge or wisdom that often has been suppressed. So, like today, I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to hear about this most other places.
people are loving the show, Mike. Getting
I
all
know.
kinds
I'm
of
hearing that too.
feedback. Yeah. And where else do you go learn about how a tuning fork can help heal what ails you?
Yeah, you're right. I
mean,
should
it's
have done a
amazing.
demonstration of that or something. Show people.
Yeah, you should at some point in time.
I should, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Because the story
down,
of your hand,
down.
the story of your wound, that horrible wound, and the fact that you brought it not only back to life, you resurrected it to where it has more feeling in it than it ever did.
I know.
Correct?
It was pretty wild, and it's still at like double the sensitivity of normal. And but I have my Rubik's Cube here, as you know, and I do cubing, and the cubing keeps all the fingers, nice and agile and so on, and the mind agile as well. But I am back, and
That's awesome.
for a while I couldn't even squeeze the trigger of a pistol,
Yeah.
and now of course I can. Thank God. You don't want to go through life without being able to fire a pistol, especially these days.
That's true.
So that's been good. But yeah, the healing, I mean, we are coming across some amazing information. There's no doubt about that. And I'm just happy to be doing this with you, Todd. This is an adventure that we're
Indeed.
on.
Yeah.
We're sharing with the audience. People are loving it and learning every single day.
Well, I'm wishing you a wonderful weekend, Mike.
You too.
Yeah. And thanks again. I am so grateful that you invited me to be your co-host, and
It's been fun.
Still in pinch me mode, Mike.
Okay. And send me photos of all your copper contraptions when you get them all made.
I will.
I want to see what that looks like when it's all done. And have a great weekend, Todd. It's been fun.
All right.
Okay. And thank you all for watching today. Again, decentralize.tv is the website. Until next time, I'm Mike Adams, the founder of Brighteon.com. Thanks for joining us today. Take care.
Cheers.